York State Legislature and Governor Andrew Cuomo reaching an agreement, signing off on a $175 billion budget. The deal includes changes to the cash bail system, new tax on high-end homes, and new plans to charge motorists driving into Manhattan's most crowded parts. Other budget highlights include a ban on plastic bags from retail stores, $25 billion for MTA upgrades, a new paid 3-hour break on Election Day, and more. Well, in other news regarding the budget, legalization of marijuana was not included in the budget, but just Monday, Governor Cuomo insisted on WAMC radio New York will pass a law legalizing recreational marijuana before the legislature adjourns in June. Now, advocates worry that a standalone bill will be tougher to get through the legislature. And later, we're going to catch up with our political expert, Michael Benjamin, who has more on the New York State budget, and he'll break down what this all means for the borough of the Bronx. In other news, apart from deadlines and academic pressures, college students face a number of adversities. Many become food insecure and even face homelessness. Professor of Higher Education, Sarah Goldrick-Robb, visited Lehman College, sharing her story on the reality many students face and why they struggle to afford the most basic necessities in food. BronxNet correspondent Darissa White brings us the story.
Struggling college students seem to always be a concept that people have always made light of, but new research presents this is no laughing matter.
Today's college students are working in extremely large numbers. Even so, many of them are still unable to make ends meet.
A new research study from Temple University's Hope Center shows City University of New York students face food and housing insecurities regularly. Titled Real College and led by Dr. Sarah Goldrick-Robb, the Hope Center surveyed nearly 22,000 students at CUNY's 19 campuses and found 48% of CUNY students didn't know where their next meal was coming from.
I think the most upsetting part is that we find that very large numbers of students are dealing with food and housing insecurity, but relatively few of them are getting support.
Although CUNY has made efforts to support students with food pantries on half of their campuses, Dr. Goldrick-Robb says the stigma around the pantries prevents students from utilizing them.
Some of them are not really comfortable accessing those supports, again, because people have thought of college students as privileged, and that's how they're trying to behave.
Like Sybil, an art major, who says she wouldn't go to a food pantry because it's presented like a handout.
It's still a bit of a pride thing to want to go because you're not here you don't want to feel like you're getting a handout, so kind of makes you not want to go.
Sybil says there have been plenty of times she sacrificed food for school.
A lot of the time the art supplies that are needed for each of these classes that I'm taking can get pricey, so it's either have the supplies I need for class or have enough money to get food.
And what's more alarming are students that are dealing with both housing and food insecurity. At least 14% of CUNY students surveyed say they are dealing with some form of homelessness.
Oftentimes they're couch surfing, and that means that they're going from place to place. Maybe one week they stay with someone, maybe another week they stay somewhere else. This makes it very hard to focus on school.
Dr. Goldrick-Robb says more state funding is a way to solve both housing and hunger issues.
First, at the state level, there is a funding issue with regard to CUNY's resources. Over time, the resources available per student to make sure that students have the support that they need, it's gone down. The other fact is that a lot of these students have children, and childcare is incredibly expensive. So what do you do when on the one hand you need to buy your books and on the other hand you need to pay for childcare? Well, you probably pay for the childcare, forego the books, and maybe fall short of money for food.
We reached out to the Vice President of Student Affairs for Lehman College, Jose Magdaleno, who says increasing financial aid and providing targeted financial support to student programs will help relieve many student financial concerns. But it begins with changes to legislation. Reporting for BronxNet, Darissa White.
And thank you, Darissa. And that's all we have for the Bronx Updates. We'll be right back with more Open coming up after this.